On it.
Pretty much.
Got it.
On it. Nailed it.
I'm loving these Star Wars quotes today.
Mike can now sit back and relax the rest of the episode. That was...
My job is done.
I pushed the button. I'm good to go.
When things are wrong, I'll be by your side. Even when you want to cry.
Stop it. Welcome. Welcome to the shit show.
That's
I mean,
Naked
Apple.
You're on the wrong podcast.
Welcome to the Naked Apple.
Thanks, Keith.
Thanks, Keith.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Did I do a good job?
You
that
did.
That was splendid.
It was a great job.
Yes, Keith is going to be at least regular on our show, if not permanent. We'll see how much he likes coming each week.
It depends on how my marriage goes and this commitment.
That's fair.
What the hell is even that?
You need to label that button. I keep forgetting what it is.
You need to tell me before we start recording, so I actually can.
You failed to specify when or where.
It's more like a guideline.
It's one of those weeks.
It is. Gonna be fun. Buckle up.
Well, shall we jump right into some vitamin B?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Welcome to your vitamin B.
Thank you.
We have some news for you today.
Again.
Yet again, like we do every week. It's almost like it's a weekly thing that happens.
Almost.
Not quite. Speaking of things that don't happen weekly anymore, CBS News officially confirms that Leakin has been shot.
They didn't get it from a third-party source, though, did they?
No, not this time.
They went
this
straight
time.
to the source.
Straight to the source.
Is this referring to the Hunter Biden laptop?
Yes.
Old John Wilkes Booth himself.
They were a little late on that one.
That's
Just
what
a
happens
lot-
when you
just
use
a lot
Internet
late.
Explorer to find out details of the stories you're covering.
Bill Gates knows where you live. Anyway,
Okay.
speaking of rich pricks, 13 billion people dead after Trump is unbanned from Twitter.
Oh, the humanity.
I feel like I would have heard something about that.
I believe this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated yet again.
I think we need the soundbite of when the Zeppelin bursts into flames and the guy on the radio is just going nuts.
Yes,
Add that
Yes.
to the things we should have.
indeed. Moving on. New Disney CEO promises to make child grooming slightly less obvious,
Going back to our subtle ways.
That's so comforting.
but only slightly.
That being the key word there.
Only slightly. Back to Trump, because that's much better news.
It's fun.
Taliban quits Twitter to protest return of Trump.
He's crazy.
Standing for their principles is what they're doing.
And you got to support them for that, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta respect them for that.
Yep, indeed.
My turban's off to them.
As many of you know, Thanksgiving is, well, past by the time you've listened to this.
Most likely.
But we have some Thanksgiving news for you.
Oh.
As many of you know, every year it is custom for the President of the United States to grant a pardon to unfortunate turkeys. This year, the turkey has been denied presidential pardon after photos emerge of it attending the January 6th rallies.
Ah.
Little bastard was wearing a MAGA hat.
Birds out of the cage, huh?
Speaking of drastically overblown proportions, Nancy Pelosi steals Speaker of the House podium as a souvenir.
My precious. She was heard saying as she ran down the hall.
Everyone thought it was funny until she ordered someone be executed for trying to put a buffalo hat on her.
Oh, she's serious.
Speaking of inane, worthless people, Mitch McConnell calls for regulation of Ticketmaster after failing to obtain his Taylor Swift tickets.
That's almost entirely true.
Almost.
Almost.
Almost. And this has been your Vitamin B. Wow. Something tells me he really doesn't like Mitch McConnell.
Well, when you have a name like Mitch, and it rhymes with
Ditch.
ditch and other
Itch.
Sandwich?
other
Stitch.
other words that may or may not be friendly to use around preschool toys. Well,
There are preschool toys present.
things I'd like to say, but I can't because there's preschool toys present.
Speaking of Disney grooming people.
So,
I think my new favorite insult is okay groomer.
yes, I do enjoy that.
I do enjoy that one.
And it was immediately banned from social media.
It
Yep.
was.
So that's how you
which
know
is
it's
unfortunate. Is it unbanned from Twitter
Ooh.
like everything else is now?
I'm going to look into that. I haven't thought about it.
Test.
Test! Test it!
So,
Okay, groomer.
we had a pandemic recently,
We did? When?
apparently.
2 years ago?
A couple-ish years. And
Earlier this month?
moving forward, there's a call for pandemic amnesty.
Wait, say that again?
From The Atlantic, let's declare a pandemic amnesty.
What the hell is even that?
Well, what that is that depends on what your definition of is.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you.
You left too long of a
Fool
Oh,
pause.
me, we can't get fooled again.
I couldn't not do that.
It's just amazing how well that fits in
Everything. All the time.
So many contexts.
Yes.
and even out of context, it's still funny.
It's still funny. So Emily Oster from The Atlantic is saying, hey, mistakes were made, but we need a pandemic amnesty moving forward.
You went full retard, man.
Yeah. Yeah, see, they're entering the bottom of the hockey stick of the F around find out chart. And they're realizing it like, hey, we should have amnesty, right?
I need to see if I can make that a shirt.
So was there anything that they weren't wrong about?
So far, no.
So masks, not effective.
Vaccine.
The 6, that certainly did not reduce transmission or many of the other things it claimed.
At best, it made it worse.
Yeah.
At this point.
Let's see. And that was the entire basis of the vaccine mandate that Biden tried to push through, and that was dictator level stuff.
Yeah. So she says, she tells a little story about how her 4-year-old son yelled at another kid to social distance when they got too close because, she trained him well back in 2020, April of 2020. And she says these precautions were totally misguided. In April 2020, no one got the coronavirus from passing someone else hiking. Outdoor transmission was vanishingly rare. Our cloth masks made out of old bandanas wouldn't have done anything anyway. But the thing is, we didn't know. Unless you listened to people that kept getting banned on social media that said, hey, none of this stuff actually works.
Or us.
Yeah, or us when we started our
But then if you
podcast.
listen to us, we probably would have gotten banned on social media.
So, there's that.
So there's that.
I have been reflecting on this lack of knowledge thanks to a class I'm co-teaching at Brown University on COVID. We spent several lectures reliving the first year of the pandemic, discussing many important choices we had to make under conditions of tremendous uncertainty. Some of these choices turned out better than others. To take an example close to my own work, there is an emergency, if not universal, consensus that schools in the U.S. were closed for too long. We pointed that out. And I tried to point it out to a friend of mine that's a doctor, and I was ridiculed because how dare I cite the guy that invented mRNA technology as a reason why, hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing this stuff because looks like it might be bad. And, oh, by the way, locking kids out of school is going to make them mentally unstable. Oh, there's no evidence of that.
So therefore, we should do it.
Yeah. And the long-term side effects aren't really anything to worry about with COVID, with the vaccine. Oh, yes, because it's been out for so long. This was like 2 months after it released. Long-term side effects, there aren't any. Where'd you find the study for long-term side effects of something that's only been out for 2 months?
Never been done before.
That's fascinating. Blah, 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 blah. Moving on. All this reflective stuff. She says the people who got it right, for whatever reason, may want to gloat. No, I don't want to gloat. I want you to pay.
I'm not interested in gloating. I'm interested in you losing all of your power.
Yes. Those who got it wrong, for whatever reason, nefarious, in my opinion, may feel defensive and retrench into a position that doesn't accord with the facts. All of this gloating and defensiveness continues to gobble up a lot of social energy and to drive the culture wars, especially on the internet. These discussions are heated, unpleasant, and ultimately unproductive. In the face of so much uncertainty, getting something right had a hefty element of luck. Or journalism.
It was definitely luck.
And similarly, getting something wrong wasn't a moral failing. Unless you intentionally got it wrong. Fauci. Treating pandemic choices as a scorecard on which some people racked up more points than others is preventing us from moving forward. No, you are preventing us from moving forward. People like you. We have to put these fights aside and declare a pandemic amnesty. We can leave out the willful purveyors of actual misinformation while forgiving the hard calls that people had no choice but to make with imperfect knowledge. All right. So, I couldn't go see my grandpa that had cancer in the hospital because of COVID. He's since passed away, not from COVID, but from the cancer. But it would have been nice, to go visit him instead of him having to rely solely on my grandma, who couldn't always make it to the hospital.
The rhetorical 180 that they're doing here is amazing.
It's
during 2020, they were like, trust the science. How dare you question the science?
Yeah.
And now they're like, oh, we didn't know. You just need to forget. Let's move on. We didn't know.
How are we supposed to know the boxcars we were shoving you in were going to kill you when you got to Auschwitz? Just forgive and forget.
The vaccine mandate was just a suggestion.
Oh, ha! That's in here. Yeah.
Oh, that's in the article?
No,
we should move on from the...
It's a couple tabs down. It's coming up. In
All
our
right,
stories.
let's plow through it.
So also on that note of my grandpa, when he passed away, at work, because of the policies they decided to adopt because the virus, I technically was not allowed to go to the funeral unless I wanted to miss a couple of weeks of work because people from out of state were going to be at the funeral, which means that I couldn't show up to work until 2 weeks after the fact because of COVID.
Like being around people from out of
because I'd
state?
be around people from out of state. Whether or not I actually had COVID is a whole nother thing. So what did I do? I took the day off to go to the funeral and said nothing about people who were out of state and went back to work. Nobody died.
Yeah.
Except for my grandpa, who I wasn't allowed to visit in the hospital. So no. What's
And
your
not
name?
of COVID, we might add.
Yeah, not of COVID. No, Emily Oster. Amnesty is not on the table after spending 2 years putting people through hell because you had to have moral superiority with science. In case you forgot, here's a couple of reminders of what life was like back then.
You've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us.
People who are incubators for every variant to come, walking around lawfully unvaccinated? That's psychotic.
For the unvaccinated, you're looking at a winter of severe illness and death. For yourselves, your families,
Amnesty.
and the hospitals you may soon overwhelm.
About this, in a world of threats and tyrants and terror,
Oh,
you know
he
what
doesn't
our
have a
biggest
job
enemy
anymore.
is in America?
Interesting.
Our fellow Americans.
They are the ones that are propagating
He shouldn't have a job.
this outbreak.
Being frustrated that
She
there's
doesn't
still
have
a
a job.
percentage of the population who are not vaccinated.
I wish that he would go further to restrict
This-
the activities of the unvaccinated.
This CCP chick has done an absolute 180 and is trying to say that everything she said never even happened. Now,
Of course.
whatever her name is, Wen or whatever, she's now saying, we knew the whole time that...
Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezy.
Yeah, cheer, Lemmings.
25% can cause a lot of damage, and they are.
If you're willing to walk among us unvaccinated, you are an enemy.
Well, you know, it's my rights. Okay. But I don't care.
The pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Well, look, the only pandemic we have is among the unvaccinated. And they're killing people.
Freedom not to follow the facts.
Oh, he doesn't have a show
Even if
anymore
your
either.
freedom.
Anyways, you get the idea. Get the idea. Also,
it's almost as if they were wrong the entire time.
Almost as if they were wrong the entire time. In case you forgot, here's an entire thread from Liz of TikTok, just compiling all these horrendous videos and stories of elderly people like this one. This poor old lady is just trying to say hi to her kids and grandkids, and they're on the outside of the building looking through the glass, and she's tapping on the glass, telling them to come in, and they won't come in. And then you can see her start to get more and more sad, and the nurse that's there just kind of turns and walks away, leaves her alone. It's like, amnesty, 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 amnesty. And all of the leadership just, Nancy Pelosi getting her hair done when nobody else could. Going to posh events with no masks in sight, even though you had to stay home and stay safe. Small businesses closed forever, bankrupt, lives destroyed. All of this stuff, all of it, this whole thread.
It's almost like trusting the science has become its own dogmatic religion.
And then this one, So it's a funeral, if I remember right.
Not a well-attended
And then,
funeral.
hey, stay there. No, separate. Don't comfort the weeping wife. No, get back. Evil. We need to have amnesty for evil. Yeah. If you need a reminder, there's that thread.
So for those that were harping on trust the science back in 2020, one thing that we should remember about science is questioning the science is how you do science.
That's literally how this works.
This man speaks blasphemy. Yeah. No, I'm still of the opinion the more, especially now that this 180 over in England, they're now talking about there's doctors sending reports to the government saying, "Hey, stop recommending this vaccine to pregnant women."
Yeah.
And in Iceland, they're the poster child for handling everything because they were the most vaccinated country or whatever. They're now seeing a 25% increase in excess deaths. Why? Global warming or something, probably. Yeah, the more stuff like that happens, the more I think, yeah, Nuremberg had something right.
I just love going down memory lane, especially when it makes me really angry.
Like this one, the FDA, as you were saying, Keith. The FDA says that telling people not to take ivermectin for COVID-19 was just a recommendation. Oh, you only recommended it, which is why you tweeted out memes and stuff mocking people as
Wait,
crazy.
the CDC tweeted out memes?
The FDA.
The FDA did.
Yeah. They tweeted out things like, you're not a horse, don't take ivermectin. It was just a recommendation. We were just, sure, we threatened pharmacists to lose their licenses to be a pharmacist if they gave you ivermectin. Sure, we threatened doctors to lose their licenses if they prescribed you ivermectin or gave you ivermectin. Sure, but it was just a recommendation. Yeah. This came out because people are suing the FDA. Good. And in a recent hearing, the lawyers said the cited statements were not directives. They were not mandatory. They were recommendations. They said what parties should do. They said, for example, why you should not take ivermectin to treat COVID-19. They did not say you may not do it. You must not do it. They did not say it's prohibited or it's unlawful. They also did not say that doctors may not prescribe ivermectin. They use informal language, that is true. It's conversational, but not mandatory. The hearing was held in a case brought by 3 doctors who say the FDA illegally interfered with their ability to prescribe medicine to their patients when it issued statements on ivermectin, an antiparasitic that has shown positive results in some trials against COVID-19. Yeah. Instead, they had to put a fast stamp on Pfizermectin. That's what I call it. Pfizer's drug that does almost exactly what ivermectin does, except it's just a little different in its compound. Turns out that gives you liver failure.
The Pfizer drug
does
that?
Oops.
Yes.
Oops. But that one's FDA says, yes, go ahead, keep using that.
Fascinating.
Which one costs more, I wonder? The one that's been around since the 60s?
Oh, that was the other interesting thing in that podcast I sent you. They talk a lot about the health industry and how it's driven now.
It's money.
Yeah.
Well, the thing we covered a
like
few weeks ago with Europe, when Pfizer said, no, we haven't tested this. We had to get it out to market.
No, that's a depressing reality that we have to live with now, is that like more and more of science is just a scam because they just come to the conclusions of whoever's funding them.
Uh-huh.
And so now we're left like, I mean, I'm not educated in these sorts of things to like make my own conclusions on things. And so it just leaves us with more confusion, but that's just something we have to know.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your policy, Mike? Trust no one?
Yes.
Makes sense to me. I've adopted that policy.
On that note, Biden said that if the Senate proposed Senate resolution would end the COVID national emergency, and Biden said he would veto the resolution. It's not over, but it is. It's over when I say it's over. Right, my
What do you think? That's what they do. They can make up anything.
Seriously.
Speaking of the Senate.
Oh, no.
Is it Joe Biden related?
No.
Do we have the clip from Emperor Palpatine? I am the Senate.
I am the Senate.
No.
That would be great. That would be a great one to get.
In order to create a more secure,
we have this one from Palpatine.
Safe, do it. Democracy. Although I do think of that all the time whenever they tell me how secure the vote is.
Okay, I'm sorry, Trevor. Continue with the article.
The Senate has advanced the respect, in air quotes, for Marriage Act. That's the first thing that tipped me off that this probably isn't a good idea, because
pretty much every
99% of the time, if the whatever the bill says it is, it's the opposite of
the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah, exactly.
They might be trying to screw me. Well, of course they're trying to screw you.
So yeah, the Senate advanced this bill, so it was a cloture vote, which means they won't debate it anymore, and it'll now go to an official vote or something like that. I don't know. There's too many steps.
Okay, so the bill itself hasn't passed yet.
No,
but okay. So I was reading the what's it called? Cloture.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it's still got to go through an official vote. They just voted to stop debate.
Gotcha.
Romney's got to go.
Romney has got to go because 12 Republicans decided to vote in favor of the Respect for Marriage Act. Among them is Mitt Romney. And I believe Keith has a special little thing.
Oh, yes.
From that.
Let me tell you the gist of it. So, this week, Mike Lee proposed an amendment to the Disrespect for Marriage Act, or whatever it's called, which would ensure individuals who express a moral preference for marriage between a man and a woman could not be punished for expressing such a view. Mike Lee said that without such protections, our religious freedoms may be attacked by barbarians at the gates of our churches. This amendment was quickly rejected, saying that religious protections were enough because the people who had a moral preference for traditional marriage can express such a view in those little boxes they call churches, but nowhere else in society. Mitt Romney, who for some reason was dressed like a barbarian, concurred with the rejection by saying the left would never go after our religious freedoms as long as we say and do everything they tell us. Take me, for instance. They promised they wouldn't call me names as long as I wore this barbarian costume. The left is actually very kind and reasonable as long as we surrender to them always.
Well, pardon me, young man. Excuse the shit out of my goddamn French, but did you just threaten me?
So that's what I got from reading all those various articles.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. If you go through the body of the text, it does not give any exemption for religion. It does, however, say that anyone acting under the state has to allow any and all marriage, which means your priest, your pastor, your elder, your whatever at the church, if they're going to do a marriage and a homosexual, whatever kind of sexual things there are now, couple, throuple, whatever, enters the building and says, hey, we want you to marry us, they say a no, they can turn around and petition the Department of Justice
to take action. Which means that if your church wants to remain acting in the way it does, mainly with its tax-exempt status, it would have to bend the knee to the government and allow marriages, or
Stop
don't
doing
do
marriages
marriages.
altogether.
So wait,
Yeah.
what are the religious protections that are in there? Because Mitt Romney said that there was some in there.
There isn't any.
They're just inadequate,
So-
according to him.
So in the actual body of the bill, none.
There are no protections.
Really?
None.
I'm sorry. I meant that Mike Lee said that they were insufficient, which implies there is something in there.
Mike Lee said that there were a couple other senators that proposed amendments, and Mike Lee said those amendments basically did nothing for marriage.
Yeah.
They mentioned it, but it gave nothing as far
But
as
were
what
any
it's
of them
going to.
adopted?
No.
Not that I've seen, no.
Okay.
So Mike Lee put out a statement. He voted against it because it's not protecting religious liberty.
And you said 12 Republicans
12
voted for this bill?
Republicans on board with this. Roy Blunt of Missouri, Richard Burr of North Carolina, Shelley Moore, West Virginia, Susan Collins, surprise, of Maine, Joni Ernst of Iowa, Cynthia Loomis of Wyoming, Lisa Murkowski, surprise, of Alaska, Rob Portman, Ohio, Mitt frickin' Romney of Utah, Dan Sullivan of Alaska, Tom Tillis of North Carolina, and Todd Young of Indiana. Now, it is 12. It's not 11 and it's not 10. They only needed 10. But if they got 10, they'd only have to sway one person to get it to not go. You get 12, now you got to sway.
You'd think some
people.
Republicans would, go latch on to some of these religious protections.
You would think that, but then you also have to remember the only party that hates Republicans more than Democrats are Republicans. Why else would Mitch McConnell spend money against his own party? Oh, Lisa Murkowski. He spent money for her to keep being there. Yeah. And I don't have it in here, but Lee also put out a thing having Republicans sign on to basically get his amendment added to it. So we'll vote in favor of it if there's religious protections on there.
Yeah.
So he's trying to get all of the Republicans accountable for that. And some of them, Mitt Romney, won't sign it. So
it looks like they did actually pass an amendment on it.
What is the
bipartisan amendment unveiled Monday ensures nonprofit religious organizations will not be required to provide services, facilities, or goods for the celebration of a same-sex marriage, and protects religious liberty and conscience.
Okay,
conscience protections available under the Constitution and federal law, including the Religious Freedom Restoration Act.
Okay, so my understanding of it was correct.
It also makes clear the bill does not authorize the federal government to recognize polygamous marriage and safeguards any benefit or status such as tax exemptions, grants, contracts, or educational funding of an entity so long as it does not arise from a marriage.
This whole thing's so stupid.
Yeah, so
who are you to say what marriage is? Okay, so polygamy can be a thing? No. Why?
Yeah, that's the problem. If you define marriage as anything other than marriage between a man and a woman, you have to explain where you draw the line.
If you're willing to move the line, why stop?
Yeah, because the problem with defining away traditional marriage, I don't like using that phrase traditional marriage because it implies there are other types of marriage besides traditional marriage. But if you put that line anywhere else, then the problem is your entire philosophy is based off of discrimination, because the left's the way they got their the gay marriage to be socially acceptable, they kept saying love is love.
Uh-huh.
And the problem with that is that's known as an argument that proves too much. So in other words, yes, a statement like that does include gay marriage, but it also includes all the other types of marriage that you can think of too.
Mhm.
And so when you declare something like, okay, we're declaring that gay marriage is morally equivalent to heterosexual marriage, well, then now you're excluding, if you draw the line there, you're excluding other marriages such as throuple relationships, so like group type marriage situations.
Right.
And incestuous relationships, like all kinds of stuff. And there are people out there that are in these consensual relationships.
Yeah.
And so if you're saying we need to include these people but not these people, then your philosophy is based off of discrimination. And so keeping it a traditional marriage, that is not discrimination because that's where it has always been. And anyone can get married to someone of the opposite sex they are not related to. And so, therefore, if Republicans are going to sign on to moving it, where the heck are you going to draw the line now?
Yeah. Yeah, the ultimate solution is to just get it out of the tax code entirely.
Right.
So then nobody can be upset.
Which they're never going to do because they get too many taxes off of it.
Right.
So
but also
it's too ingrained at this point.
But
Anyway.
also what Mike Lee did kind of proves it in a roundabout way. It shows their actual intent behind it because he said, no, we can't do this unless there's religious protections. No, we don't need religious protections for it. Oh.
Who said we don't need religious protections for it?
The people that voted for it, basically.
Oh, gotcha.
Because he's like, it's not strong enough at so
The
whatever
wording and stuff is not strong enough on it.
So the amendment that did pass, it looks like that does say that people can support traditional marriage in those little boxes we call churches.
Basically.
But nowhere else, like individuals. So that doesn't protect
Basically.
people like bakers.
Yeah,
that don't want to make
it doesn't protect
cake
anyone
for gay
outside
weddings.
of a church. It literally only protects the tax exempt status of churches and things like that, and their ability to say no to performing a gay marriage. That lawsuit a few years ago with the baker, he now automatically loses. He has no leg to stand on.
Jack Phillips. Yep.
There's a new one in the Supreme Court. There's a web designer now that's being sued by a gay person for not creating an LGBT website for them.
Because a business doesn't also have the right to deny service to anyone they choose to.
Yeah. Unless it's Twitter.
Right?
Or Facebook.
You
or any
literally,
of those.
literally as a business owner, it is supposed to be one of your business rights to deny service to anyone that you want to.
President of the
regardless, without providing a reason, regardless.
President of the United States walks in, you can say,
Nope.
no, Mr. President, you are not eating here.
Yeah.
And that's the issue with this is it does. So the amendment that they put in does apply a few protections specifically to churches, but it does not provide protection blanket to religion anymore.
And it's just basically,
which is a violation of our freedom of
So
religion.
yeah, this is going to escalate. And it's going to be used as a
and even
club
just
this
to
is
be-
going to be bad. Yeah,
and even just plain thought, because if you're like a rent-a-pastor, basically,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily have a church, but you do weddings for people, but you just have a moral code like, I don't like the
It's not
homosexual stuff.
biblical and-
Not because of a religion you have. You could be agnostic or atheist or whatever, but you just do marriage ceremonies for people. And he said, nah, I don't like doing that. Well, too bad you're getting sued and you're losing your entire career.
Yeah. Well, and it looks like this is actually passed the Senate. So, but because they added the amendment, it now has to go back to the House before it can be finalized.
Oh, gotcha.
So because the Senate passed the amendment on it. And so now because the House the House had already passed the
They
bill,
have to pass it again.
so they have to pass it again because now there's an amendment on it. Before it can go to Biden's desk to be signed.
Burgess Owens is going to get so many letters from me.
Right. Well, he voted in favor of it.
I know.
first time
I
around,
was
yeah.
I was furious about that. The problem is at the time, it's not like we had good alternatives for a candidate. The other person was basically Mini Romney.
Mini Romney.
that was running.
Seems like they're
against him
trying
in
to
the
run a lot of
primaries.
those right now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Romney light.
no, there is one thing I do want to say about what Lee was doing.
Romney zero.
Because something I like to think about is, are there any good arguments on the other side on this? Because what they said intending to do to protect, basically their intent was to enshrine Hodges or Obergefell versus Hodges, which is the gay marriage case, which in 2015,
which it does not. But continue.
Yeah, no, it goes beyond that. But that's basically their stated intent.
That's where they're
is
standing.
So what Mike Lee is saying is, he said that if we can put these religious protections in there, then I will vote for this bill. So in other words, Mike Lee is saying he is willing to effectively enshrine Obergefell into law, as long as we also have religious protections. And that's the position of the LDS Church, is they say, yes, we can have legal protections for LGBT people, but we also need to make sure that we have protections as well.
Yeah,
that's
which I agree with.
It's what the LDS Church is saying. So about going back to Obergefell versus Hodges, like, I can say that Supreme Court decision was absolute garbage and unconstitutional. But at the same time, you do have to recognize that because it was passed, like, there are a lot of people that have come to depend on that court case the way it is. It's kind of like if someone were to tell you can build your house on this property, and then later that law gets revoked and say, oh no, you can't have a house on this property anymore. Right. And so, are we going to say that you have to tear down your own house now? It's kind of the same thing. And so I think that's what Mike Lee is getting at. He's like, yes, even though this is a bad decision, it should not have been decided this way, I'm willing to enshrine it if we get religious protections in there.
Right. That's the one that overturned all the state laws, right? The Obergefell case.
Yes, that's right. Because at the time it was passed, state after state was just passing it, passing gay marriage. So it was becoming more and more common.
So they just made all the states do it.
Supreme Court is like, let's just pass it across the board, even though there's no basis to do it whatsoever.
Legislate from the bench.
What's the constitutional basis for this? Constitution.
I mean, the people like it. I mean, we think it's trending in that direction, so therefore we should put it in the Constitution because we declare it so.
Slavery was trending in that direction for a while too.
No, that's another a very good point. That's a big reason why I'm convinced you should never vote Democrat, because if you do that, you're effectively voting for oligarchy, because they're putting these Supreme Court justices on the bench who believed they should legislate from the bench.
Right.
And that's not how, what's that called? I think that's called a threat to democracy.
So this is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause.
On it.
Pretty much.
Got it. On it. Nailed it.
I'm loving these Star Wars quotes today.
Mike can now sit back and relax the rest of the episode. That was...
My job is done.
I pushed the button. I'm good to go. So, cryptocurrency. I know enough about it.
All right, I've heard enough. Deadly force authorized.
I know enough about it to lose money on it. Keith, what do you know about cryptocurrency?
Well, I've been looking at all the money I've lost in the crypto market. And that has caused me to meditate and reflect and to ask a very simple and fundamental question. Does Bitcoin exist? I've lived my life as though it does, and I've always put my faith in it. But it looks like so many others that are losing their faith in it. But then others are telling me that there are always ups and downs, and I shouldn't ever lose my faith and just believe. I realize now that I can't see or touch Bitcoin, and so do I really know that it's there? Maybe it only exists when we all collectively believe it does. So why don't all of you heathens please collectively believe in it so I can sell all my crypto and buy the many mansions I thought I was entitled to? And those are my thoughts on Bitcoin.
Yes. Now insert the American dollar.
Same thing.
Only a matter of time.
These pictures are the same.
I told them to find the difference. They're the same picture. No, it's not.
You
It's
are officially handicapped.
no, it's different. You can hold a dollar bill. Yes, but it's only worth $1 because everyone agrees it's worth $1.
Yes, because it's no longer backed by gold, so
Yeah.
it is essentially the same thing. It's just a paper format versus a digital one.
Instead of zeros and ones,
Same
it's just
thing.
a 1.
Same thing.
I bring that up because
Fight me.
fight me. But I agree. I will die on this hill, but we're not fighting. Never thought it'd come to this, but I say we agree. So I bring that up because was it FTX?
Ah, yes.
Still in the news. You know, the guy's apparently fled to Brazil or something. I don't know. And a bunch of Democrats are calling for large investigations, all while pictures of them standing next to the guy that did all this are surfacing. So, you know. But. I'd say I was surprised, but I'm not. Mitch McConnell is roped into this whole thing.
Son of a You done messed up, Aaron!
Yeah, that could be why he's not against stopping aid to Ukraine. Because, as it turns out, he has gotten, his, what's the Senate super PAC that he has?
Yeah.
FTX donated some 250. 200. How many zeros are there? 1, 2, 3. $2.5 million. $2.5 million donated to Mitch's Senate thing. The same FTX that took money out of Ukraine. That was donated to Ukraine. And then went to Democrat politicians and Mitch McConnell, who spent money against Republicans. Yeah, so there's
wait, who are the good guys again?
Hopefully DeSantis.
I was gonna say none of the ones in DC.
I hope Mike Lee.
Okay, yeah, we can agree on that.
That's fair.
I'll give you one. Used to be able to...
I would also argue for Rand
Paul.
Rand Paul.
Oh yeah, he's good.
I would post an argument for Rand Paul.
In any and all financial situations, you can pretty much side with Rand Paul for federal spending.
Mm-hmm. It's hit or miss on most of the other most of the other like semi decent ones like Ted and some of those guys.
Dan Crenshaw used to be cool, and then he opened his mouth. But he's got Captain America eyeball. Yeah, but
I haven't followed Dan Crenshaw for a while.
Yeah. Doesn't matter if he has a Captain America eyeball if he doesn't have a Captain America soul.
Yeah, there's that. He thinks it's okay to put red flag laws on firearms and stuff like that, among other things.
Commie asshole.
Down in Arizona, they're still counting. Still counting. And
are they still turning in ballots too?
They very well could be.
What are we at? 120% now?
So one thing that's interesting with Arizona is if it's 0.5% difference or less, it goes to an automatic recount. It's at 0.6% difference between
what a
two
coincidence.
Just enough.
Just enough to not.
Isn't that just the person that's in charge of overseeing the election and is also running in the election is just in the lead by 0.6%. Just
I'll be darned.
And the AG has stated that he will not certify the election, and several of the counties are also not certifying the election anymore.
Well, really?
Until
the Attorney General of Arizona isn't this is news to me.
He sent a letter to Maricopa County and said, what the hell is going on over there?
Yeah, he will not certify the election until he does a thorough investigation and recount.
Yeah, because when you're a treasurer of the
With his
state,
office.
when the state treasurer for the Republican side just dominates the Democrat competitor, and everything else is just enough Democrat.
Yeah,
you start asking a few questions, and then you see videos like this. Guy gets a box out of his car full of ballots and dumps them in. Handful of ballots, handful of ballots, handful of ballots.
Well, the deadline was today, and my opponent, Katie Hobbs, has officially declined the debate.
Dropped one. There we go. Put those in. Put those in. There
You know, I consider someone's vote their voice. I think of it as a sacred vote.
This
and
is
it's being
one drop
trampled the
box.
way we run our elections in Arizona.
Since,
I've been sounding
middle
the
of
alarm
October.
for 2 years. Nothing got
Drop
done.
those
Very
in there.
little got
Yep,
done
just,
last legislative
all
session.
those,
And
that-
we need to get in there,
There it
and
goes.
restore
There it goes.
faith in our elections. We can't be the laughing stock of elections
I
anymore.
don't like that they covered up their faces.
3 and 4.
A good stack. Healthy stack. Another few. Oh, got to take a picture so I can get paid. And a good stack of them. Go ahead, drop those in. We're now at November 4th. This one.
What was the close-up for?
Just showing that it was multiple ballots. Take a picture that I'm dropping off
Katie
5
Hobbs
ballots.
has been elected governor of Arizona.
Take a picture.
Straight ahead.
I'm dropping off 5 more ballots. Let's drop those off.
This election, Arizonans chose solving our problems over conspiracy theories. We chose
Her voice, I bet you anything in high school, she was like the queen of the high school.
She sounds like the librarian on Parks and Rec.
That's what I was thinking.
Tammy 1, I think.
Yep.
Yes.
Or no, Tammy 2. That was Tammy 2. That's what she sounds like.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she ran for student government and was the, all dolled up the whole time, and everyone wanted to be like her. She was the queen bee. I bet you anything.
sanity over chaos.
Go ahead and put that healthy stack in there. There's
Whoa,
another.
that is a big
gosh.
Arizona.
And there, just drop those off. Police are there now to pick up the drop box. There we go. Go ahead and take that out of there. Yep, make sure we got them all. Put them in. Seal it up. And there it is at the counting center. This guy flipping off I don't know who or what as he puts his ballot in.
Oof. Why is this stuff not being investigated? Someone explain to me why.
Well, apparently it is.
Well,
With
the AG is trying,
Arizona.
I'm looking for some good news. Them not certifying the election, that is good news, but it feels kind of like finding a $20 bill in your pocket while you're halfway falling off a cliff.
What sucks is they have to, if the AG finds something, they have to have damning evidence when they come out of that. So, like, basically, if they can track down who some of those individuals were, especially the stack of 20 or whatever,
if
they can track them down and figure out what was going on, or the ones that took pictures, because social media, you're not taking a picture of your 5 ballots right in front of ballot drop boxes. They voted today.
Yeah,
Right.
that would be, like, again, they have a lot of plausible deniability, because if they take pictures, they can be like, oh, that was just me saying that I voted. I was showing my family that I voted for them, that they voted. So that's what the picture was for.
You have 5 voting members in your house? Yes. Why do you live alone in your apartment?
How dare you? How dare you?
Well, it was my grandmother's.
And in an investigation like that, it's only plausible
what a family is in this society. It is 2022. I am family with the people across the street and the homeless men on.
And in that situation, it's only plausible deniability if they can prove that they either posted the picture to social media or sent it to family members to tell them that they voted for them.
And it would have to be. And it would have to
Wouldn't
be
they have to
that
turn
date.
over their phones, though?
Not necessarily. You can pull all that information from the
all right. Well,
phone
I am desperate for some good news because like the fact checks or whatever on this voter fraud stuff, like they're like, oh, they were just dropping it off for their families. And I'm like, how do you know that? Explain to me how you know that.
I wonder.
You're making an assumption. An assumption is not a proof.
Like, it looks to me like this mail-in ballot stuff, like, creates a lot of vulnerabilities in the system, and they are taking advantage of those vulnerabilities, and you refuse to protect those vulnerabilities or investigate them when they look suspicious. And so all I'm hearing from the fact checkers are just believe it's stupid.
Right. Oh, update on that Colorado gay club shooter. Apparently, he identifies as non-binary and uses they/them pronouns.
Oh, conservative through and through.
Yeah, according to new court filings, the public defenders for the suspect stated that is what they refer to him as. I have no idea how the hell to pronounce MX instead of Mr. Sanderson Aldrich.
I hate that I know that.
I hate that you know that too, because I didn't know that and now I do. Yeah. Thanks.
So, out of curiosity, I just did a quick search to try to find out if, in fact, it is legal in Arizona to drop off ballots for other people. Because I know there is a handful of states where that is allowed, but in Arizona, it is not allowed.
It's not, like, at all?
At all. Published November 1st, 2018 from some affiliate, NBC affiliate in Arizona. Let's say Election Day is just days away and you and your friend haven't mailed in your ballot. Wednesday was the last recommended day to mail in your ballot in Maricopa County. You may know that if you miss the deadline, you can still drop it off at polling locations. Did you know, however, that dropping off your friend's ballot along with yours could land you behind bars? It falls under state law that prohibits ballot harvesting. On Wednesday, an appeals court upheld a 2016 Arizona law banning people from picking up and dropping off other voters' ballots. 2016 Republican-led legislation bans anyone but caregivers or family members from delivering a completed early ballot to a polling place. Supporters of the law say it prevents voter fraud.
So according to Ballotpedia, Arizona's laws are specific people may return.
Yes, so your spouse or whatever.
Right.
Or if you're caring for your elderly.
There's only one state in the union that outright bans it entirely. And that is Alabama.
Alabama
is the only place that only the voter can turn in their ballot. Florida allows it as long as it is someone chosen by the voter. That's the same for the majority of states. Missouri, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Georgia, North Carolina, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire are all specific people may return. And then like Washington, Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, Wisconsin, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Tennessee, New York, and Vermont are unspecified.
Unspecified.
As well as Delaware. I miss Delaware because it's tiny.
Right.
Oh, and Rhode Island for the same reason.
Rhode Island. So yeah. So in Arizona, only family members can drop off ballots legally. I'm pretty sure a stack of 20 is not going to be direct relative.
So that's like same household, like brother, sister, parent-child
or caregiver or whatever. So Arizona's law states specific people, and they specify it's like direct family member, same household, caregiver type.
Do you think they could argue that
Alabama is the only one that is voter only?
Do you think they could argue that they were dropping them off with all the people that they share a Netflix account with?
I mean, that's basically family at that point, right? Because you're not supposed to stream outside of your household
Well,
on the same account.
I ate at the Olive Garden.
no
the
one
other
does.
day. I ate at the
Nobody
Olive
does
Garden
that.
the other day and just took all of their ballots.
Speaking of which, do either of you have a Netflix account I can borrow? I mean, I got to finish The Witcher before they ruin it.
Oh, well, I'm already borrowing
More.
somebody else's, so
Ruin it
there's
more.
that.
I should say.
Before it gets more worser. So this next one is something I noticed in Las Vegas. No, I didn't go to Las Vegas, but I saw, I don't remember, some social media post or something. There was a organization that was doing some heavy election advertising in the Las Vegas area. It was Stop Having Kids is the name of the organization. Stop Having Kids.
That's the name
Kids.
of the organization.
That's the name of the organization.
Make love, not babies.
So I looked them up because I'm like, okay.
I don't think they understand how humanity works.
Well, they do, which is why they want you to stop having kids.
I don't think they understand how a lot of things work.
There's an unconscionable amount of needless suffering and death in the world. Birth serves as the catalyst for it all.
It also serves as the only balance to it all, so...
Yeah. I love that in one of these, the guy is holding a sign. If I can get... There it is. If I can get this to...
Make love, not babies. What a slogan.
Yeah. So down here, this guy right here, let's stop dumping our problems onto future generations. You know what he votes for?
I bet he votes for Democrats.
He votes for all the stupid problems that get dumped onto future
I
generations.
bet he votes for Social Security and Medicare.
Yep. And Green New Deal and Joe Biden
and all of the debt. Let's take all the money and make it debt.
No more child abuse. Yes, I agree with that, although your premise, I do not.
The funniest thing about this is that they have signs that say stuff like no more child abuse and the world is too backwards to move forward with having kids and stuff like this. The people that would stop and think about having a child and take the consideration to maybe not have a kid because they don't think that they would be a good parent are exactly the kind of people that probably won't abuse their children.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Because most people that are child abusers, like chronically child abusers, are the kind of people that don't really think shit through.
No.
Like, I'm just saying.
Where do you get that from? So to be clear, going into the rest of this, if you personally decide, I don't want to have a child, fine, whatever. That's your decision. I'm not here to say you have to have a kid or else you'll never be happy or whatever. But the context behind this organization is what's troubling. Because 50% of pregnancies are unintended, about 121 million per year. Yes, most children are unintended.
Guilty.
Thank you. We were planning on having a child, but not right now. Oh, so you didn't plan to have a child.
An accident is not the same as a mistake. It's a very clear line, very large difference.
I wouldn't be surprised if you actually looked into whatever this survey is here, if the respondents said something to the effect of, well, yeah, we weren't planning to have this third one.
right at this moment.
But you dig into it and they're like, yeah, they wanted a third child. They just didn't expect to have it here. So it's an unexpected third child.
I mean, so what? Like almost 50% of the pregnancies are unintended. Like, so what? What's their so what?
And vasectomies do not make you lose your manhood. They make you a better man.
My balls, my choice.
That dude just screams beta.
Doesn't he, though? He's like Brad Pitt had a meth addiction.
I can see it.
and decided to be an 80s porn star. That mustache, though.
Yeah, that's a porn star stash.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's with the pulled back hair and everything. Yeah. Yep.
Hey, Farva.
So wait. The sign he's holding up is elective vasectomies for all.
Yes.
That's they want the government to fund vasectomies.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh.
What? That's a new one.
Well, as the birth control and all that stuff is expensive.
If they're gonna pay for the birth control pills, why not pay for vasectomies?
Unique, sneep, sneep.
We can choose to end the cycle of needless suffering and death and help those who already exist. Yes, by getting rid of the future generations that can care for the older generations. Although I wouldn't be surprised if you asked these people, they'd be completely okay with Canada's policy of voluntary euthanasia, especially for the
What in the hell
elderly
did the
and infirm.
euthanasia have to do with Canada?
Well, a lot. Just ask Xi Jinping.
That's messed up.
There's a shortage of already existing humans and other animals in need of stability. Oh, there's no shortage. Sorry, cord was in the way.
There is a shortage, so we have to get rid of more.
The camera was in just the right spot to block that perfectly. Safe and loving homes and many other forms of support. Let's minimize our harm and maximize our goodwill and solidarity with living beings and the planet.
I've heard of Goodwill, but is Solidarity a new kind of thrift store, or is that...
I don't know. Anti-force, unapologetically antinatalist.
This is...
I have to say, I'm still digesting the protester signs above. Like, those people, like, they look to me like people who would say that biology is sexist.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll have to explain that one. It's like, well, yeah. Biology.
Okay. This is really... You got to go to the Y's. Go look at the Y's. No, just scroll. Take your mouse up to the top. Up. No, just your mouse. Up to the top, underneath the stop having kids. The Y's. Why vegan to natalism?
All right. I'll click on that. But first...
I'm afraid to look.
I'm afraid to look.
Why is this?
This headline is what made me pull this story in. We ought to be less reckless and selfish. So, giving up some of your goals in life, your own selfish desires in life, to have a family, because it's not necessarily easy to go from I'm single and can do basically anything I want to I have responsibilities. It's not just an easy transition. You got to make some sacrifices there, right? Got to be less selfish and not have kids. To me, that's the opposite. If you think the world's going to die and it's not worth bringing children in the world because it's just a horrible place, you're in a place of defeatism. And so I'm just going to live my life and be done.
Yeah.
How is that not selfish? Idiots.
Stop it. Get some help.
Yeah. Pro-choice, but not creating new humans is the superior choice. Shut up.
According to the people who are sad and alone.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Look at these people. Like, some of them, He's just defeated Mr. Beta porn star guy.
Beta Brad.
Beta Brad.
Beta Brad. I need to find a way to get a sketch of his silhouette, and I'm making a shirt called Beta Brad.
Like, this is the most smile I've seen in all of these pictures, and she's just got like a I have to smile. None of them have life in their souls
at all.
The whys.
And this explains it all. This is why it's under the whys. So they hate life because they're vegans.
Oh, vegan. How do you pronounce that word?
I don't know. It's made up.
Vegan to natalism. Veganism plus antinatalism.
Oh.
Welcome to Stop Having Kids, where our excuses are made up and the words don't make sense.
Whose line is it anyway? I got that reference.
Whose kid is it anyway?
Seriously, though, if I was a vegan, I would also want to kill all life on Earth.
The only way to get world peace is to neutralize all life on Earth.
Yes.
What a noble goal.
Right.
So hold on. So they're vegans. Is that the end animal suffering thing?
Yeah.
So let's end all humans for the sake of animals. That's their philosophy.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, they're shutting down 3 dams up in Oregon, Washington, whatever. Not the ones on the Snake River, 3 different ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they're going to try to shut down 6 hydroelectric dams because the salmon.
Okay.
Effectively destroying any and all prospects for farming throughout the Northwest.
Yes.
Which, I don't think they've thought that one through.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure you need farms to grow vegan-friendly things.
Yeah, I don't think they thought that one through.
No, they never do.
To quote their own site here.
If I may.
In truth, veganism isn't a destination. It's a direction.
Is it?
You keep going as far as is practicable and possible for you in order to be in solidarity with other beings on this planet every time you get the chance. And what is more practical and possible and puts you in more solidarity with other beings than killing off your species and feeding them? This is why people who eat plant-based aren't always vegans. It's an ideology first. It's how you see the world. Yeah.
That makes hardly any sense at all.
I know.
I'd like to thank this group of people for removing themselves from the gene pool.
There is that.
Yes.
The silver lining has been found.
You're right. You shouldn't. Please
if
don't.
This is what you believe, then maybe you're right.
I can't argue that. That's the best why here. Why? Because if you believe any of this bullshit, you shouldn't have kids. You're right.
I also love how uninformed they are about farming processes.
The way any of this works.
I don't do farming or cattle herding or anything, but I know enough to know that they actually do care about their animals because, like any good capitalist, you don't want to lose any of your stock to make a profit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Farmers are no different. Ranchers are no different.
Right.
One out of 3 pigs die before they reach their 6 months of age slaughter date. Yeah, part of that is because in places like California, they keep passing so many red tape laws, it makes it stupid hard to transport and care for.
I raised like me and my brothers raised dozens of pigs growing up. We never had that many die.
Yeah,
I mean, all of them died eventually, but that's because bacon.
They died intentionally when they were supposed to.
Yes, after making us a lot of money, because we sold them at the fair.
And this one, I know a little bit more about cows than I do pigs.
Well, that's fair.
It's a picture of a calf that's just been born, and it's got a tube in its mouth. Now, look how bad this is. He's being forcefully stomach tube fed colostrum. Okay, so dairy cows cannot survive in the wild.
No.
They will die if left in the wild, especially after giving birth, because dairy cows produce so much milk. If they are not milked on a regular basis every single day, they will die. Because their mammaries will just expand and get infected, and the infection will spread, and they'll die. A calf being born, one calf from a dairy cow, is not enough to keep the mother alive. And the mother usually is too full for the calf to be able to actually
eat well. Yeah,
eat well.
Because overproduction and heavy letdown is a thing. It's a thing that happens even in humans.
Yes.
I mean, our daughter had a hard time the first couple of weeks because my wife had a heavy letdown. And so my daughter could barely eat because she'd get too much in one go. And that happens a lot with newborn calves too.
Yeah. So what they're doing is they're saving the calf's life and the mother at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're doing. That's why their stomach, because the calf doesn't know how to drink from a bottle. So they have to force it into the stomach to actually get nutrients to the calf until it figures out what it's supposed to do. In which case, once that's done, they'll take milk from the mother, put it in a bottle, and the calf will drink from that.
So the conclusion is they don't know what the heck they're talking
They
about.
don't
They know nothing.
anything.
Which
about
is
this whole
kind
process.
of par for the course for a lot of activists like this.
Same with the thing with the chickens. Like, you have to slaughter chickens that way. Otherwise, they'll run around on the ground and spill blood everywhere. Well, you don't slaughter them in the first place. Then they'll die. All domesticated animals, especially in the farming world, most of them will die if left alone in the wild because, to be frank, they're stupid.
They are.
Sheep are the dumbest animals on earth.
They're stupid and they're dependent.
So they believe that we should stop the suffering of animals.
Yes.
What do you think their slogan is "Stop having kids"? That's the name of their organization. What do you think their views on abortion are?
Well, it ends the suffering of a child before it happens. So,
yes.
Yes.
However, don't you dare abort those baby puppies.
Yes.
And don't touch those sea turtle eggs.
Yeah, so no, what I'm saying is that, like, we're sucking the brains out of children, and they're probably, like, pro sucking the brains out of
Yes, it's okay
infants.
to crush the child's skull inside the womb and do all that.
All that sort of stuff, but, like, oh my gosh, we can't
but eating an egg
children.
is bad.
I mean,
Force-feeding
chickens.
Force-feeding a calf to keep it alive, that's evil.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
They have their priorities straight over there.
Yep.
It's okay. We can forgive them.
It's
Do you hear that? That's the sound of forgiveness.
That's the sound of people drowning, Carl.
That is what forgiveness sounds like. Screaming and then silence.
Yeah, this organization is a culmination of what happens when you just throw God out the window and try to make your own.
Because I only believe in science.
Yes. Science is my God. Okay. Why don't you like religion? Well, they're constantly changing. They never really stick to anything. And science does what?
It's constantly changing.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for
Yeah,
them.
we'll check in on this organization in a generation and see how big they are.
See, I belong to a certain secret society. I don't believe I gotta mention its name. You know?
It's the vagantisemitism, whatever.
Vagantisemitism. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how to pronounce that.
Anti-responsibility organization.
Wow.
You religious types are terrible because you believe in a good, strong family where people are loved and can make a difference in the world. I believe in just not having that option at all. Oh.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
I've got more buttons if you want to keep going.
That's a good reference there. Man, we're doing a lot of Star Wars quotes today.
We have a lot of Star Wars quotes on the board. They're fun.
the subtle sting, but not subtle insult. It's beautiful.
Isn't it, though?
These people need to find purpose in life.
Yeah.
Bring
Found
out your dad. I recognize that sound.
That's the sound of a frying pan hitting people in the face.
Hitting Antifa protesters in the face. So, on the good news side.
Finally.
Good news.
So stepping away from total depravity into some good news. You remember that Washington high school football coach that was fired because he prayed?
Yes.
Supreme Court said he gets his job back.
Wasn't that months ago, though?
It was just, the ruling just happened end of October.
Okay.
Just a few weeks ago. But yeah, that was back in 2015 when this all started. So yeah, he is to be reinstated as coach after the Supreme Court said, yeah, he can pray.
Yeah.
The school's not sponsoring it. No. And what's the issue? Well, he's doing it on property. Did you tell him to do it? No. Is he asking you to support him? No. Oh, what's the issue? Well, the students were joining him. Did he tell the students to? Oh, well, no. And? Well, the other team joined him at one point too. Did he ask them to? Well, no. What's the issue?
And so now he's reinstated as coach.
Yeah. And that speaks to his character as well, because you could easily, with a victory that easy in the Supreme Court, 9-0.
Oh, yeah, he could probably sue, right?
9-0. Supreme Court said, you guys are idiots.
That was a 9-0 decision. I didn't know those happened.
9-0.
No, that's not true. They do happen, but... So he could probably sue, is what you're saying.
He could easily turn around and sue the snot out of him. All he wanted was, I just want my job back. Because he actually
that
cares
does
about...
speak to his character.
He actually cares about the kids. And it's... his history and all that is... he was a troubled kid, abused, all this stuff. Grew up, became a coach, found God, all this stuff, and tries to be that good example for the kids that he coaches. That's all he wanted, was to get back in that position to be a good influence.
And now those that fired him are going to have to stand around awkwardly and pretend like it never happened.
Yeah, that crow must taste real good for them. How's the crow?
I actually have a recording of the Supreme Court's message to the school.
No! You dense, irritating miniature beast of burden!
or I thought you were going to push another button.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. It's may or may not include Adam Sandler.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
A simple wrong would have been just fine. But
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, he said the coach said the First Amendment is fine and well for everyone. I had a commitment with God that I give him thanks after every football game, win or lose. And that's the way I started out. I had some kids that wanted to join, and they asked, and of course, it's a free country. And that's why they went after him. Kennedy can claim fees and costs, which his lawyers have said could amount to $5.5 million. The school district has said it has not been given any documentation for that sum because he just wants to be a coach. He doesn't want to get rich off of this. Just wants to be a coach. That
if it's $5.5 million, I don't think he's paying that on a coach's wage himself.
No.
So I think he should claim that.
Yeah.
Myself.
Yeah. And he'll probably do that just enough to cover whatever, but not doing like reparation stuff.
I still am,
noble man, very inspiring.
Yeah.
I still fully believe that any kind of civil suit should be paid by the loser.
Oh yeah.
Because it would end a lot of lawsuits before they happened.
Yeah. Yep. You better make sure you're going to win before you just higgledy-piggledy throw things out.
Right?
On the Book of Faces, a good follow.
Stop it. Get some help.
A good follow
you said Facebook, and my finger slipped.
That's why I said Book of Faces.
We understood you.
Yes.
We are.
You can throw as much lipstick on it as you want.
We are not a stupid people, as
I'm in the top 99 percentile of intelligent people on this planet.
We know things.
So
Keith knows things anyway. I don't know that I know things.
A good
Keith
follow.
I read stuff online.
If you ever watch Dirty Jobs, Mike Rowe.
That's your new segment name. We're calling it Keith Reads Stuff.
Keith Reads Stuff. Very unique.
Very
original.
unique.
Such wow.
Much knowledge.
Much knowledge.
Well, I will raise you that knowledge.
SMRT.
I'm sorry, I've derailed the conversation yet again.
So every once in a while he posts, emails and stuff that he gets from people, and this is one that he shared. He said, Mike, my name is Joe Drew. I'm a small business owner doing residential carpentry. I recently hired a young woman, Emma, 19 years old, who is exploding in her abilities and grasp of cabinet making. Her father told me she was interested in woodwork, and he asked if they could stop by my shop and see what tools are available and how they make woodworking easier. She came with a project, and we ran it through with a planer and sanded it down, and we discussed the tools I have and what they do. I sent her home with a trunk full of scrap wood and said she could come anytime I'm there and use whatever tools she needs. So off the bat, I love this guy. Just off that first paragraph.
Dude's awesome.
That's a cool business owner right there. This turned into a job as she was finishing high school. We built a kitchen worth of cabinets together. I cut pieces, and she labeled and did some assembly. The second kitchen we did, I asked her what I should do to properly cut the parts. The third kitchen we did, she cut pieces, and I did labeling and some assembly. So completely reverse the roles.
Yes,
by the
as
third
it
kitchen.
should be.
Wow.
So this is an apprenticeship.
Yeah. We need to bring those back.
Yes, we do.
At this point, about a year in, Emma manages my cabinet division and does design, build, material ordering, painting, and preparation for shipping. I go to the shop once a week and check on her and answer questions. So the guy, in a year, has been able to not only help this lady out, but upgrade his own business to where he doesn't have to be micromanaging the whole thing. He's got someone else to do it.
That's incredible.
Today, as she spoke at Valsparro University to a group of young women about being brave enough to go do something people would normally say you couldn't do, I'm immensely grateful to have her as part of my team, and am trying to find ways to help her move forward to accomplish the dreams and desires she has. Emma is very intelligent, and building is intuitive to her, but she also realizes traditional school isn't something that works for her. I'm reaching out to you partly to just brag on her, but also see if you have suggestions for her to further her career outside of a school setting. I've attached some pictures of the work she has done. She designed and built these cabinets. I installed them. And here they are. Other mouse. Do that. Maybe. Oh, it's because it's mobile Facebook. Oh, no.
Lame.
Oh, no.
She built cabinets.
They are awesome.
Maybe if I get rid
My computer shows it.
Yeah, I was just trying to make it.
You should be able to just take the M out.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Boop. Boop. Wrong keyboard.
We're having technical difficulties?
Yes.
Technically
speaking. There we go. That looks more
nice.
like it.
We did it.
We did it! Yay!
So yeah, here we go. Let's see if that's better.
They took my freaking kidney.
So this young woman is right out of high school?
Yeah.
And like within a year, she was basically running the department?
Yes. So this running his
More or
business.
less running his business, yeah.
Yeah, from knowing
at least running the cabinet side of his business,
From knowing basically nothing about cabinet making to
running the
cabinet division. And this is what part of some of what she made.
Wow.
I would have that. Absolutely.
I
I
would
would
love
have
that.
in my
That's
kitchen.
awesome.
That looks good.
That's great.
That looks like my
basement kitchenette.
My basement kitchen out here.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. 100% I would have something like that.
Mine is much more basic than that.
A year. This is what she's done after a year.
Yeah.
Working under someone.
And those are like handmade cabinets.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like they are not manufactured.
Yeah,
They are
you
handmade.
can't saw the shop that she works in there in that first picture.
That's incredible.
And then here's Mike's response to him. So, hi, Joe. Terrific story. I have no suggestions for Emma because based on what you've told me, her success in the market is pretty much guaranteed. Yeah, based off those pictures. She possesses a strong work ethic, a skill that's in demand, and a hell of a mentor. Yep. I wouldn't be surprised if someone on this page offers her a job. If she wants to study further, have her apply for a work ethic scholarship. She's a shoo-in. Mike has a scholarship program for blue-collar type stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir, and tell your protege I said hello. She's a rock star.
Yeah.
So, yeah. If she keeps doing what she's been doing for this past year, especially under this guy's wing, she'll have her own business in no time. Being able to design and make things, whatever. And on top of that, a great friend now with this cabinet guy, I'm sure, with
oh my
Joe.
gosh, that's hilarious. They have
Are we changing subjects all of a sudden?
Sorry, I just saw something in the picture. The one of her in the shop.
Uh-huh.
They have a drawer that's just off of her right hip. It says Knives's.
Knives's?
Knives's. The Knives's drawer.
Yeah, that's a solid guy.
Yeah, I thought so. Sorry to interrupt. That just tickled my funny bone.
Yeah, this is what we need more of. Not the universities anymore. I don't see much of a point to them outside of maybe like an engineering and or medical. Maybe.
Yeah, there really isn't one anymore.
Because you go there and you pay thousands or millions of dollars to unlearn everything you learned from your parents, and then to come back home and hate your parents because they don't believe what you believe, and you have a degree in something that you can use at McDonald's.
Yep.
And then you're crying to the government that they need to pay off your debt because you made bad choices, but somebody else needs to pay for it.
How brave you are.
Yeah.
You are following whatever's trendy you're at the time, and you're incapable of paying for anything yourself.
Meanwhile, this young woman, is well on her way to be financially independent for the rest of her life and not give a damn about what the government does financially except for taking her money by force via taxes. Especially if she decides to start her own business and see how much taxes get taken away doing that.
It hurts.
It hurts.
My soul.
Yeah, we need more Emmas. And we need more Joe Drews in our world.
So that's the good news segment. Cool people exist.
There is rays of light in the darkness. America is great because America is good.
Of mine.
I'm going to let it shine. But if America is not great, it's because she is not good. Her people need to be good.
Yep.
That's it.
Sounds about right.
That's all I got.
That's all we got. Alrighty then.
Like,
fine.
subscribe, do all the things.
You did that on purpose. You know what you're going to get?
Got him. The irony That anthem is copyrighted.
We get flagged every time I hit that button. Even when it's only for like a second.
The Soviet national anthem is copyrighted. They don't even exist anymore.
How the...
Anyway, do all the things on the socials and whatever, and
check us out on Spotify, and follow us on Twitter, because we're gonna be doing.
It's about to get more fun over there.
We're gonna be doing some more fun stuff there,
right, Keith?
Yep, I'm excited.
You should be. Don't hold back.
We've handed the reins of Twitter over to Keith, so it can only get better, because we basically did nothing with it.
So there's that.
The bar is on the floor of hell. Please don't limbo dance with the devil.
Don't oversell it. Don't oversell
it. Hey, anything you do will be much better than me just trolling people.
It's true.
It'll be fun.
Fun as it may be, it's true.
All right.
With all that,
bye. Recording?
I am now that you are, yes.
He's got the clap and he's giving it to you.
Clap, clap.
This chair is low again.
There we go.
That's more comfortable.
Maybe you should go on a diet. Your chair would stop sinking.
Ouch. Well, we do believe in fat shaming.
You still want that steak, or or should I eat it so I can get the meat and lose a little weight too?
Well, I mean, you should also eat a steak.
I do enjoy steak.
Steak is good. It's good for you.
I feel happy when I eat steak.
It's good for you. Oh, speaking of which, did I send you the link to the...
Yes, my favorite
Chafee?
doctor?
Yes, I did. Good.
Did I listen to it? No, not yet.
No, of course you didn't.
I think I remember getting some.
I can't remember. I think
that.
I can't remember which one I sent you. Was that the one about taxes? I don't remember.
Was that the one about taxes?
Dude, he goes off on taxes and how they're slavery. Like, it's hilarious. But I don't remember if it was that one that I sent or if it was the one on oxalate dumping. Because so there was an episode that I listened to that made me think of Keith, because we were talking about vegetarianism and all that.
Yeah.
And like the next episode of his that I listened to, there was a lady that was on that was talking about oxalates, which are...
That's the one you sent us, oxalates.
Okay. Which are it's a poisonous chemical that's only found in plants. And our bodies can handle it in small doses, but if we eat too much of it, it builds up in our body, and it's actually what causes cancer.
Bill Gates?
Yes.
Huh.
So...
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
The medical establishment didn't tell me about that.
Right?
Doctors lied? Scientists lied?
So, and like it causes, like, the grand majority of our health problems come from oxalates.
Which come from where again?
Vegetables.
Dude.
They literally come from vegetables. So and it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense if you think about it in terms of the word of wisdom, because the word of wisdom, and a lot of people have misinterpreted the word of wisdom, because the word of wisdom, there's a line in there that says eat sparingly or whatever, but and they attribute that to meat.
Oh yeah, no, that was my interpretation.
Right,
of it. That's why I became vegetarian for 2 years.
So if you actually look at the word of wisdom, though, the placement of that phrase is directly after talking about fruits and vegetables and grains. It is like half of a paragraph away from the last time that the word of wisdom talks about meat.
It's just half a paragraph.
And there's only one other form of food that is talked about in way of commandment throughout the entire scriptures, and it is meat. And it says And it's the one about not condemning to eat meat.
Oh yeah. That's a biblical scripture, I think.
Right, yeah.
It's forbidding meats and
it's not of God.
Yeah.
So, let's see here. The other funny thing about the word of wisdom is we treat it like a commandment, but it's really not.
No, it's not. It's a policy. Like
a word of wisdom.
The prophets could say that we could drink coffee tomorrow, and like we'd be doctrinally,
right. But the other interesting thing is the only diet that I've ever seen that expressly says you should not drink coffee is carnivore.
Yeah. No, I think that thing about the pleasing unto me, that they should not be used only in times of winter or cold, that does appear to be talking about meat, because the verse before it is talking about meat, and then the verse right after it says that they should not be used.
But here's the problem. The original version of the word of wisdom, the comma that's right in front of that isn't there.
No.
So take that comma out, it changes the entire meaning of that.
Which comma?
Let me see. Let's see if I can find it. Which section is
12 and 13?
89, 12, and 13?
Yeah.
Which section of the DNC is that?
No, it is section 89.
It is section
12
89,
and 13 is
okay.
what I'm looking at.
Let me scroll down there. As I did this months ago, so I'm going off of memory here.
That's all right.
But let me see here. So if you start, let me read through here real quick and see if I can remember where it was.
But anyway, yeah, I read that verse, and I'm like, oh, so we're supposed to only eat it sparingly, only in times of winter. And then like I interpreted that to think, okay, well, since we have other foods that are plentiful throughout the year, maybe we're not supposed to eat meat at all. Like that's how I interpreted it at the time. Someone did make an argument that is not the correct interpretation, and yeah, forbidding of meats, that was one of them that caused me to stop. And I think there's something else written in the Doctrine and Covenants, but I don't recall where it is off the top of my head.
It's 49. It says, "Whoso forbiddeth to abstain from meats, that man should not eat the same, is not ordained of God."
Yeah.
Yes, that's the one.
It's like you yourself.
I'm trying to remember what it was, because
don't tell other people that.
There was an entire article I read that was picking this apart, that had the original wording of it, and it's been changed slightly.
But yeah, when I was a vegetarian, I was sorry.
But one of the things is, so it's all grain is ordained for the use of man and of beasts to be the staff of life. Well, when you're looking at that, what do you use a staff for? You don't use a staff when you're healthy and hale. It's a tool used to help prop you up in times of trouble. You know,
Okay.
when you're going on long hikes and things like that. Like it's
interpretation.
It is something that is used as a support, not as a mainstay. You know?
Yeah.
And it's for the beasts of the field, the fowls of the heaven, and all wild animals that run and creep on the earth. Well, when you look at that, it also implies that it isn't necessarily for all the time, because there's a lot of animals that the only time that they eat any kind of wheat or anything like grain, anything like that, is in times of famine. You know, other than that, they eat bugs, they eat stuff like take a chicken, for instance. A chicken can eat a vegetarian-based diet, but it's not that healthy for them. Their healthiest diet is one based on grubs,
bugs
and worms and things like that. Their body is designed to handle those kinds of things. They can eat grain and stuff like that, but it is incredibly fattening. It does terrible things to their bodies, and it does terrible things to their eggs. Like the egg coloring, everything is very different. But anyway, the one that I sent you, the oxalate one, she talks about how the original human diet was very much cyclical. It was designed, or our bodies are designed to go in and out of different types of eating, but not stay consistently one thing other than meat. Meat is the only form of food that our body is designed to consistently and always utilize.
Yeah, that's what got me out of fad diets, is because like I read another book saying that our bodies can handle like different sources of nutrition at different times, and you have healthy people in all kinds of diets.
Yeah.
But
the bottom line, it comes down to figuring out what your body actually eats and can use.
And so the cyclical thing is what she was talking about with the oxalates, because if you eat way too many vegetables, your body builds up and builds up and builds up and never dumps the oxalates. It continues to hoard them basically in your body, and only dumps them in small increments, where your body is actually designed to, she called it going through winter, which was the off months when there isn't a general crop or fruit or harvest that you can have. You eat solely meat, and your body gets rid of everything. And she said it takes, in general, if you're eating a cyclical diet, it can take like 10 weeks to clean all the oxalates out of your body. But with the standard American diet, with the heavy vegetables and vegetarianism and things like that, if you switch to a carnivore diet, coming off of a like high vegetable, like vegetarian or even keto diet that uses a lot of vegetables and things like that, it can take 10 years for your body to dump all the oxalates that it has in it.
Whoa.
And our bodies are designed to dump those every year. Like we're not supposed to keep a running stock of oxalates in our body because they're poisonous.
Yeah. You know, food science is what convinced me that science is not as certain of things.
It's not as sciencey as they science it is.
Eggs are bad for you. Eggs are good for you.
You know,
Eggs are
like,
bad again.
I hear all these like scientific, like, trust the science. And then, you know, I tried to read a diet book, and they all contradict each other.
Yes.
And I'm like, maybe they don't know as much as they say they do, like in general. I remember learning in school, they're like, yes, boys and girls, the way to be healthy is eat a lot of bread.
Nah.
Hashtag trust the science.
And then they wonder why everyone's got gluten intolerance now, or worse.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly what it was with the to be used sparingly thing. I think it was that it actually applies to everything, not just to the flesh of the beasts and the fowls of the air, but that everything should be used sparingly and with Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Which is
don't gorge yourself.
It stands to reason with the way that everything else is worded with how we're supposed to take care of the earth, because we are the stewards. You know?
Yeah, that's verse 11. Every herb in the season thereof, and every fruit in the season thereof, all these things to be used with prudence
and Thanksgiving.
Yep. That's loud. Yeah, when I was a vegetarian, I was almost as insufferable as your typical vegan. I remember at a ward activity for the singles ward, they were like having hot dogs or something, and I was not having any of the hot dogs. And one of the bishopric members was like, "Why aren't you eating a hot dog?" And I said, "Because it's against my religion."
That's fair.
So hot dogs. That was just how smug I was. In my
hot dogs aren't real food, so that's fair.
Thing. So anyway, it turns out I was right. I wasn't living the same religion he was at the time.
Let me just pluck one of these off the hot dog tree.
Anyway, that's fine. We learn and grow and correct our past mistakes.
Yes, right.
Any Hooters.
Anyway.
Go. 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 Go.
Is that what you were?
Go.
Are you sure?
No. Go.
No.
No.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
No.
I keep forgetting I'm president.
What?